Hi, this is Steve Hall. I want to go through a quick presentation in terms of our private lending program, in terms of who we are and what we use folks to do private lending with. So this is going to be a pretty short, basic presentation. I'm the president of FindFAST Real Estate, and there's our website there. It's findfastrealestate.com. That is our core website. You can go on there and find out a lot of information about us. I want to go through the disclaimer. This is not an offer to sell securities. Any person, entity, or organization must first be qualified by the company and read all of the offering documents and attest to reading and fully understanding such documents. FindFAST Real Estate LLC and its affiliates are not licensed security dealers or brokers, and as such do not hold themselves to be. This presentation should be construed as informational and not as an advertisement for soliciting for any particular purpose. All securities herein discussed have not been registered or approved by any securities regulatory agency in accordance with the Securities Act of 1933 or any state security laws. Okay, so that's the disclaimer. So now let's talk about our company in terms of what we do. FindFAST Real Estate, we buy properties at significantly discounted prices below market value. What we do is we look for private lenders and we borrow funds from them to be able to purchase these properties, renovate them, and then to be able to sell these properties at a profit or hold these properties for cash flow and potential appreciation. So that's kind of the baseline in terms of what we do. Who do we work with? Well, we work with some of the nation's leaders in our industry, including the team from the hit TV series on A&E's network, Flip This House, Than Merrill, Paul, and J.D. Asajan. So we work with these guys very regularly. We finished up a project in Southern California with them just recently, and we've got some other projects that we're working on as well. So these are the people we've been trained by. Some of them are mentors, and they're a great group of folks. How do we buy these houses so far under market value? We specialize in distressed properties that are usually in need of renovation. Our company, we pretty much focus on the loss mitigation short sale area. About 9 times out of 10, we will find short sales, negotiate the deals, and then turn around and sell them to a rehab or investor landlord type of thing. But if we do find a property that has a lot of potential in it, we will take that property, hold it ourselves, rehab it, and sell it. We know where to look, what to buy, what not to buy, and how to renovate it. Again, working with the guys from Fortune Builders and CT Homes, we have a very specialized format in terms of figuring out what our rehab costs are, our timelines, and that type of stuff. So we know going into a deal almost to the penny what we're going to be able to get out of it. We create value by purchasing these ugly vacant homes. Sometimes they're vacant, sometimes they're not, and turning them into attractive, functional family homes. So one of the nicest compliments we received was we were working on this property that I referred to earlier in San Diego, that the inspector there said out of all the properties on the block, the one that we did was one of the nicest he had ever seen. So let's go through a quick example here, and then I'll show you a quick example of one of the projects we just finished up. So let's just say that Mike decides to invest with us. So he takes his retirement account, could be at Entrust, could be at a number of different areas or different holders of the property. Typically it's a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is a self-directed, you want to make sure it's a self-directed Roth IRA, that Mike can become a private lender with us, and then he will receive updates from us, announcements of available notes for properties that we're working on. So Mike calls or emails FindFAST and says, hey, I'm interested in a particular property. We also have a private lender list that you can get on if you want to find out properties that we have coming up and different lending opportunities that we've got with us. Mike would select a note that meets his criteria and request to be a lender on that note. So here's a quick example. ARV on a property after repair value is $400,000. We might take a note of $300,000, which is a 75% loan to value. One term, first position, we might pay about 1.5 points on the property at a 12% interest rate, so that yield is 13.5%. That's a pretty strong interest rate there, and again, it's secured by first position in a real estate that's under fair market value. The investor has options in terms of payments, so they can do it monthly, quarterly, annual, accruing, or custom. usually we opt for the custom, in that most of our projects usually take 6 months or less to do. So what we typically like to do is, because we're not in the business of writing checks on a monthly basis, what we like to do is to work with the investor, if they're okay with that, for them to fund our deal, and then at the 6-month period, whether we close on the property or not, then for them to get paid back or to renew the note. So it makes it a lot easier from a bookkeeping standpoint, instead of having to cut checks every month going back to the investor. At some point the investor is going to be paid back, so it's a lot easier to do it in one shot than it is breaking it up into 3 or 6 parts. Investor does have the option of putting money into an escrow account, tax and insurance escrows for prepayment. There are longer term notes available, also junior positions. So sometimes we may involve a hard money lender in first position, and then have the private money lender come in behind in second position to complete the note to purchase the house and to get the rehab done. And there's also non-retirement account funds as well, standard checking accounts and things of that nature that we can have access to in order to get those projects done. So additional information is property tours and scope of work. Property tours are, sometimes we'll have investors say, hey, I want to take a look at the property, that type of thing. That's not a problem. Please understand though that our contracting teams are in there to get the project, the rehab, done as complete as possible, as quickly as possible. So I want to make sure that they're moving on that. And then the scope of work. So again, like I mentioned before, we have a very systematic approach in terms of figuring out what the rehab is going to be. So from paint colors, flooring types, sinks, countertops, all that type of stuff. All the stuff is all done up front. So again, we know the contractor knows exactly what we're doing here, what the costs associated with that, and timelines to get the project complete. So let's show you a quick example here. This is a property here in Northern California. Purchase price was $249,000. That might seem a lot in some places in the Midwest, but you know, this is the West Coast, so this was a little 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath property. So you'll see on the left here, the people who had lived in the property had been here for about 4 years. They had about 12 to 15 animals, snakes, lizards, iguanas, something like that. When they left the property, they took the animals but left everything else behind. So kind of a mess. On the right hand side, you'll see one of the things we like to do when we can is put in ceiling fans to give air circulation. This property doesn't have air conditioning, but it's next to the Pacific Ocean, so again, that kind of helps with the cooling situation. Standard paint color, so Navajo white on the walls, flat white on the ceilings, and semi-gloss white trim. We have to use maple, engineered maple on this flooring. Such a small place that we wanted to use a higher end product in order to be able to sell the property quickly. And then you'll also notice too, hard to see on the left hand side, but the right hand side you can see we use the same granite that we did for the kitchen and bathroom countertops as well. So again, just to create that sizzle, one of those sizzle features that helped us sell this property quickly. Upstairs, this is a master bathroom. On the left hand side you'll see this property was actually built in the mid 80s, so single sink, the little Formica top, little mirror on the right hand side, just not real attractive. Right hand side you'll see we use the granite countertops, put in dual sinks, put in nice lighting. This bathroom is only about 5 feet wide, so we added the glass shelving right above the sinks there for additional counter space. Again, this property turned out really nice. So this is one of my favorite parts of the property here. Left hand side you'll see 1980s oak kitchen, white appliances. The refrigerator was a lot of fun. When we opened up the refrigerator, the people had left the property about 4 months prior to and turned off the electricity. So there was a piece of steak in there that was still in the wrapper, but it looked like it had been cooked. It was really nasty. On the right hand side you'll see again we brought the maple flooring into the kitchen, all stainless steel appliances. And the cabinets, we don't ever use cabinets that use that fiberboard. We always like to use solid wood cabinets. This is a nice oak cherry stain, high gloss finish, and stainless steel everything, including the refrigerator with ice maker, water dispenser, that type of thing. Here's a view off the balcony here. Our after repair value is $340,000. So let's go through the numbers. Initial deal. So we purchased the property for $249,000. Our estimated renovation was $26,000, and closing costs were about $2,500. Our prorated taxes were around $1,000, and then so our total cost base was $278,000. Our investor funds, we borrowed $300,000 on the property. Lender's fees were $4,500, and there's our cost basis. So our remaining funds, after everything is said and done, was $61,500. So that was a pretty sweet deal. So in looking at an example of Mike's earnings at $300,000 with 1.5 points, that's for $4,500. Interest rate at 12% was $12,000. So Mike earned somewhere around $40,000 if he had had this property for 1 year. Now, we only had it for 6 months, so his check was around $20,000. So $300,000 in, 6 months later, $320,000 back. So a pretty good return on Mike's investment. So steps to fund the deal. So what we do is when we go through this process, we have our escrow officer, we prepare the note and deed of trust. We fill out the information. If it is a self-directed IRA, we get that information taken care of, and the forms are sent over to Entrust or the Roth IRA entity. The lender can look at all the documents, make sure it's all correct, fax everything over to Entrust. Entrust then would wire the company wire the funds to the title company, then title company would distribute funds as needed. The title company records the deed of trust. They send the note back to Entrust, and then we begin the renovation process. We also go ahead and either mail the checks directly to Entrust for Mike to then deposit back into his IRA if that's what he's using for funding. Again, if you're not using IRA, if you're just using your standard checking account or savings account, then those funds will be sent direct to you. Now what? So FindFAST Real Estate sends off the check to Mike or the IRA at the end of the deal, and if Mike wishes to continue, we can certainly extend that note. We're typically working on a number of projects at any one time, so it's fairly easy to roll that over into another project. What happens if the note matures and we're not ready to pay off? Well, there's several exit strategies. One, we can offer a note to renew the note that's on the property. We can refinance the note with another lender. We can bring in a credit partner to refinance, or we can sell the property quickly at a discount to another investor. So again, typically our timeline is about 3 to 6 months. Anything past 6 months that we're looking at discounting the property in order to move that thing along, because we've got several projects going at any one time. So again, certainly I encourage you to go to our corporate website, FindFastRealEstate.com. There's our toll-free number, 866-808-3841. Like I say, we're very interested in talking with folks that would like to make a good rate of return on money they would like to invest. So feel free to give us a call, and we hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.